Sangashatvam samvadatvam samvo manas vichanatam deva bhagam yata purve sanjanana upasate.
Let us walk together, let us talk together, let our minds comprehend alike, just as the ancient gods shared their portion of sacrifice.
My name is Amrish Chandera. I will be the host today, your host, for the Annual Hindu Convention 2012. And certain ideas may arise in your head as to what the Annual Hindu Convention is, but the easiest way to explain what the Annual Hindu Convention is, as the mantra states, Samgachadvam, or the slok states, Samgachadvam, Samvadadvam, Sambho Manansi Janatam, Deva Bhagam Yata Bhove, Samjanana Upasate. Let us walk together, let us talk together, let our minds completely apprehend alike, towards a great goal, towards a great vision.
But caring can be a double-edged sword. As community leaders, we care. We all care. That's why we're here. But week in, week out, those of you who have put your names on those ballot papers or as committee members face the same accusations that you're in it for yourselves, you're in it for your positions, you don't care. And in your mind you're saying, I'm sacrificing time with my family because I care. The deficit between the father and the son, between the husband and the wife, and the community leader and his congregation is the deficit of listening and our ability to listen. One of the core, I believe, attributes of community engagement is to create platforms. I'll talk about umbrella organizations later on. But I'm all for them. I'm all for creating as many platforms. They'll come, they'll go. But every time you create a platform, if you create it with sincerity, something, I believe, something good will happen. And that's what we see here today. The start of a process. And ultimately, this process of engagement that I think, it's not that the Hindu community has not done it in the past, and our leaders here are already here, that have been involved in various movements and engagements, whether it's Arjan Bhai or Gauri Das or Nitinji or Dhirubhai or others. We've all been engaged. But today's society is much, much more different from what it was 15 or 20 years ago. We are at a monumental juncture in world history. And the decisions we make today are the decisions that will affect many generations going forward. We live in a different world of technology, of integrated society, and so on.
People it happened to. Has anyone heard of Ekatwa? Ekatwa, there was a young group of kids, slum children from Ahmedabad, who came and did an absolutely phenomenal show in Leicester and a few other places, Birmingham and London. So I was lucky enough to be one of the volunteers, and I had dinner with these little kids afterwards. So I was sitting next to one of them, her name was Deepmala, and there was another volunteer opposite, her name was Tina. So Tina said to Deepmala, "Oh, I really like your earrings. I saw them the other day on Tuesday when you were wearing them. They're very nice." And Deepmala said, "Oh, thank you." That was it. So it stopped there. And then a few minutes later, we were talking, we were having fun. The next thing, this girl from the slums in India, she doesn't have a lot of possessions, she doesn't have a lot of money. These were big earrings. She'd taken them off and she said, "Here, I want you to have them." To Tina. "They're yours, they're now yours." Yeah, that's it. So that was one experience that, I was just, wow, it really touched me here. So what this demonstrated was, it's just literally a 5-second talk. She just said, "Oh, I like your earrings, they're very nice." But this girl really listened. It wasn't just, "Oh, thanks, yeah, thank you, good," and talk about the next thing. She really listened to what this Tina had to say, and from the heart she gave those earrings. So in the same way, I want us to share some experiences about how we've either said something and we were glad someone was there to listen, or you listened to someone else and you gained something by listening. Okay? So just before we do that,
I met a boy that I'd met before at some benches and he was staying the night in Leeds as well, and so was I. And we come back to London. He lives in Leicester but works in London, and he decided to come back with me on the train. But he was on a standard class ticket, I had a first class ticket. But he wanted to talk about some personal issues he was having, and sort of some philosophical, he had some questions on Hinduism. I wanted an answer for it. So he said, "Kishanji, I want to come and sit with you, so I'll come to the station and upgrade my ticket." Okay, very simple thing, cut a long story short. We got to the station about 10 to 11, I remember the time so vaguely, 10 to 11 we got to the station, and he gets to the counter, he asks the lady at the counter, "Can I upgrade my ticket?" She goes, "You can upgrade it, no problem, but you can't do it here. If you put it on board, you get it upgraded. It's a £25 fee." First of all, I thought to myself that this boy is so interested in knowing about Hinduism that he's willing to upgrade his ticket to come and say, "Okay, even you can understand that he's a little, he 25 maybe nothing for him." So I don't know his background. So he came on and he sat. Now, before he sits down, before he puts his bag on, he sees a lady working on the train. Now, I don't know if she was a cleaner or not. He goes up to her and says, "I want to upgrade my ticket, £25. We're not even left the station. He's asked 2 people in the space of 10 minutes that he wants to upgrade his ticket. The lady says, "Don't worry, the ticket master, the ticket lady or the ticket man will come around in about half an hour and pay your ticket then." So he reluctantly sits down, with his bag beside him. He doesn't even put it up on the top. He does that. Half an hour goes into the journey, the lady comes with the food, offers the food. The boy refuses the food. He says to me, you know, I haven't paid for my ticket yet. This is what he tells me. He refuses the food. So I said, you know, don't worry. When the ticket lady comes, I said, you have to pay anyway. So pay then. What are you worried about now? He goes, okay, I'll take it. So then I forced him to take something to eat. So he had some crisps. 45 minutes into the journey, the ticket inspector comes. The ticket inspector comes. She asks for the ticket. Now I had a paper ticket. It wasn't one of those small tickets, paper boarding pass type of ticket. She gave it. She read mine. She gave it, and then she punched it. He had one of those standard tickets. Gave the ticket. The lady didn't look at the ticket. She punched it immediately. Punched it without looking at the ticket, gave it back to him. She then turns around and looks at the other people on the opposite side to take the ticket. He takes the ticket from her, but as he's taking the ticket, he's taking his wallet out because she just literally took the ticket off him. He was reaching for his wallet. He took his wallet out. He then calls her. He calls her back. She was walking away. He calls her back, says, "I want to upgrade my ticket." Now, imagine this, the boy's ticket has been punched, okay? How many of us at that point have said to ourselves, put it back in our pocket, finished, done? Yeah? He asked this lady, "Hey, can I get this ticket upgraded again, £25, I will pay this." He took his card out. She says, "I don't have the card machine right now, I'll come back in 20 minutes. Okay? 1 hour, 10 minutes into the journey goes. He gets up, I see this himself, this is himself doing it himself. He gets up himself, he goes to look again at the end of the carriage for someone. He finds another person working on the shops that sell the food on the train. He asks for the ticket lady. He goes, she'll come around again. She comes back twice on the journey. Now, it's a 2 hour, 20-minute journey from Leeds on the train. Yeah, 1 hour, 40 minutes into the journey, he goes back up for the 4th time to ask. Okay. Again, another 20 minutes goes 2 hours. He's asking me now. He's saying to me at this point, "Okay, I can't find anyone to pay this ticket." I said, "Don't worry, someone will come round." We get to 2 hour, 20 minutes. We're there in King's Cross, London. We get up. Okay, now you imagine this. Now this level of antardrashti, this level of introspection was what really got me here. He stands up. He goes to the door. And he looks back around again, trying to look for someone to pay this £25. Okay? He then says to me, Kishan, Kishanji, I'm getting off this train, but something's not right. I don't feel right. He says to me, "Did I do the right thing?" And I said to him that since you sat for 2.5 hours, you have been to 6 times. You have been to ask to pay this £25. You have upheld your dharma. I said, you have tried to do the right thing. Now, because he looked after Dharma, Dharma looked after him. In many ways. Alright? Now he didn't, what was amazing was his level of interest. He then asked me, as we're leaving King's Cross, "Are you sure I did the right thing?" And then at the end I had to give him some comfort because he was feeling really bad. Yeah, so I said, "No, don't worry about it, I put it behind you." Imagine the level of introspection Dr. Sam. He felt this, and he was a young lad, 21, 22. But this, you felt that was a lived experience at this point. Yeah, it was actually lived in his actions. And when I speak, I always say this, that he was just an embodiment of what we try to aspire to be like. He inspired me to the extent that I continuously talk about him. Look, I had to mention him here as well. The other thing that I've done personally is train young people to go and speak on Hinduism. I have about 80 to 100 youths that go to schools, local authorities, colleges, other universities and speak on Hinduism. So actually training them to be able to pick up any topic on the Sanatana Dharma. So from festivals to pilgrimages to concepts and beliefs, generic ones. There is no doctrine or no theology or nothing involved, but a generalistic scholarly approach to the Sanatana Dharma. And delivering that to not just people of their own community, but to other communities. So ironing out misconceptions that other communities have, other bodies may have of the Hindu tradition.
The incubator was called Models for Community Engagement, and it involved all the representatives, all the delegates from various organisations to have an opportunity to network and interact with other organisations and find out exactly what sort of models they have in place for interacting with their members, with their community, and how that is beneficial for them and what the restrictions of those are. And the whole process of this is to learn from each other. via that process of listening. The delegates were really responsive. In fact, the amount of the wealth of knowledge that these guys have, the wealth of experience that these people have, is fantastic to learn from, particularly from my point of view and from a youth point of view. It's really impressive to see what kind of work is going on out there, and for us to be able to learn from that and obviously, hopefully in the future, step into their shoes and continue the good work they've started. Obviously each organisation has their own aims and objectives, and that's fine, that's the beauty and the diversity of Hindu Dharma. The beauty was that they all sort of particularly sort of had a consensus on the fact that they need youth involvement, and a lot of the organisations are already working towards that. But what are the processes they have in place for youth involvement, youth engagement, and how are they working for that organisation? How are they working for different communities? And can we share those ideas? Can we sort of take inspiration from that and engage youth in our own organisations or whatever? So that was the gist of the discussion at Hatches.